What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with RotaryCraft. And today, guys, we're going to be messing around with the Compactor, which is going to allow us to do a lot of cool things like turn coal into diamonds through a little bit of a lengthy process. There's also the option to turn blaze powder into glowstone, which is really nice considering we have the blaze farm downstairs. If you guys couldn't hear that, but I'm sure you could. But yeah, so this whole process to make this Compactor actually work is pretty lengthy and kind of expensive. So I'm not sure if it's extremely worth it to set up, but I think it'll be fun to mess around with nonetheless. So we have a lot of bedrock stuff in this chest because we need to use bedrock gear units because we are going to be getting such high torques that a diamond gear unit is not actually going to be able to handle that. We can mess around with one diamond gear unit as the first one, but we're going to need three 16-to-1 gear units, and the second two are not going to be able to handle the very high torque that we're going to be going for unless they're bedrock. So the reason that we're waiting to set this up is not only do we need bedrock dust to make the compactor itself, the pressure heads require it, we also need the bedrock gear units. So this is, like I said, very expensive, not only in terms of using bedrock like this, but we also have to use the gas turbine, which we used last episode to power the bedrock breaker, but it's going to take a lot of jet fuel. So my last 2 hours of playing has pretty much consisted of me getting jet fuel and just repeatedly bringing it down to the bedrock breaker and then moving the bedrock breaker to get a ton of bedrock dust to actually make this. That's pretty much all the prep I needed for this episode. So first things first that we're going to make is going to be the compactor, and I'm going to grab all this stuff out of here because we do need to do a good amount of crafting. Okay, so like I said, the pressure head is really the most expensive part. You do need a 16x gear unit and then a couple, base panels, steel ingots, but really it comes from the pressure head because this requires the obsidian, diamond, some steel, and then the bedrock dust, which is of course the most important part. So we're going to make 4 of those, and then we should be able to just come over here, click this in, and we have the compactor. So now we have to do all the different gear units, and we got 2 16 bedrock gear units, 16-to-1 bedrock gear units, or gearboxes. We're going to have 1 diamond 16-to-1 gearbox. We're going to have a 2-to-1 bedrock gearbox. That's going to be the last one in there. And now we need to go and make the, I believe it is called the dynamometer. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, but we're going to be making this. And we need to make pretty much a circuit board, then make the screen because I don't have any circuit boards left right now. So we got to come over here, go to the screen, circuit board. For some reason that didn't want to click it. Oh, we're missing a piece of redstone. That's what it is. There we go. Okay, so missing a piece of redstone. The odd thing is I actually don't use that chest that much anymore over there for stuff. It pretty much all goes into what we're crafting today. But here we go, we got the screen, and now we can craft this. There we go. And I guess I have a leftover mount from something. Odd. Well, that can just go right back up in there with all the excess RotaryCraft stuff that we have. But that should be it for what we need to actually make today. So over here, I have this whole area set up for actually running the gas turbine. So if you didn't see last episode, you might not know that the gas turbine is very dangerous, and not only can it kill us, but it can also break, explode, destroy parts of the base, stuff like that. Now, people were curious about how big the explosion is for the gas turbine. It's not super big, it's no reactor explosion, but the noise it makes is horrific. Eventually, maybe in one of the later episodes, I will allow this thing to eat me up and then, or, kill a mob or something, but I have to tell you guys, I was running this, obviously, and I was watching Netflix, and I was just kind of doing the jet fuel down to the bedrock breaker setup that I was mentioning earlier to get all the bedrock dust, and somehow something, I don't remember if it was a skeleton or what, got in this gas turbine, and it literally sounded like if someone stuck their arm in a blender, and I'm not lying, it scared me so much, I almost fell out of my chair. Because I had no idea. I thought it was actually something in my house. It was such a weird noise. So if you want to see that, go into Creative and try it out. I have no idea where they even, where that noise came from. I don't know where you'd even get it from. But we're going to put this down in here because we don't want to accidentally walk on the side of this that's going to be sucking in. We don't want to have an Incredibles moment where we get sucked into it. But we're going to be putting it back here. And then I'm going to mine over here. And I believe this is where we can put the fuel line that's going to be bringing the jet fuel into this, and then I'm going to mine down here, and we're going to put down an engine control unit. So again, if you missed last episode or didn't watch it the whole way through, the engine control unit pretty much goes below stuff like the gas turbine, micro turbine, performance engines, anything that runs on either ethanol or jet fuel, and it allows the fuel to be pumped into it. It will then put it into the engine itself, and it allows you to turn off or limit the engine itself with a lever, with a redstone signal, I should say. So I do have a lever here. We're going to slap it on here. And if we want to look at the settings, we can see that if we were to flip this and make it redstone controlled, like turn it off, it would set it to 0% speed. We can't alter this. You can set to all these different speeds. We're going to keep it at 0 though. And then if we shift right click on it, you can see that it's set to redstone operated, which is what we want. So now we can come over here, and this is still, I guess it's not producing anymore. I can take some of the coal for today and throw it in there. But this is still producing excess jet fuel because we're going to need a ton of it. But this reservoir should be full over here, so we can just grab this real quick and bring it over. And I should have extra fuel lines, so we'll just leave that one over there. So we can throw this right there, and then the reservoir can just go up here. Now the reason I don't want to throw the reservoir down yet is because this thing's going to start running. I don't know if flipping this lever would stop it or if it would kick on, but the whole idea with these turbines is it's not just on and off. It's typically with engines, it's not on and off. They kind of charge up and then they slowly shut off. So if I were to throw this reservoir down and then flip a lever within 5-10 seconds, it would still take a little bit of time to rev up and then go down, and it actually burns the most fuel while it's revving up, getting to its highest speed. Then it kind of, when it maxes out, and I believe that's when the sound changes a little bit, then it kind of levels off at a slightly lower fuel burning rate. But what we need to do now is set up these gearboxes, and the important thing that I mentioned before is the order in which the gearboxes go. So we're going to put the diamond gearbox down right here, and I do have a bucket of lubricant to go in that. And then we've got the bedrock gearboxes, and then the last one. So the order of these 3 gearboxes is not important. That is irrelevant because the bedrock gearboxes have have the ability to transport an infinite number of speed and torque. The problem is with the diamond gearbox that we are going to be exceeding its limits, and it would explode if it were to be put right here. So it's important that you only put it right here unless you want to waste a gearbox and then have to go back and make it, or endure the frustration of trying to figure out what was wrong like I had to. So we're going to put all those down right there, and the bedrock ones don't even need lubricant. That's the nice part about them. And then we're going to put down the dynamometer down here at the end. Now I've mentioned this before, but if you don't know what this does, it pretty much acts as a shaft. It just puts the power through it and allows you to see on the screen what's actually going on. So it's really nice to show how high of a torque we're going to be getting today, because the way you get a ton of pressure is by getting a ton of torque for this setup. So now we need to break this block right here, and we are going to throw down the compactor. Now, first things first, I do want to go into the book and take a look at this really quick. So if we go under processing, we go to the compactor. This mainly talks about its ability to make diamonds, because I'm sure that's what a ton of people use it for, but there are other uses. So when it talks about these requirements and the heat requirements, that is only for diamonds. At least the recipes show that you should be able to easily make glowstone from the blaze rod or the blaze powder with significantly less pressure, with significantly lower temperature. But pretty much the way that we're going to be doing this is putting a lava block under it, and that is going to give us 800 degrees Celsius, so that'll make it more than hot enough. It won't exceed the max of 1,000 though. The thing you want to keep in mind though, and the reason that 2-to-1 gearbox is so very important at the end, is because there is a max pressure, and the required pressure to make diamonds is very close to that. It is very, very close. So you're going to be finding a nice area between those two that you need to get this system to sit at. And so if you go over that, it's not going to be good. And if you go under it, you're not going to be able to let it actually run. So it's important that you get the right gear ratio to get a good torque that's going to maintain the pressure. So we're going to throw down the lava bucket here, and then we're going to throw down the compactor right there. It is going to get power from the back. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see the cool animation of it. These pressure heads kind of just extend out and go back in and, essentially squeeze stuff together. They compact it, but that is that setup. This is going to take forever to build up pressure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this coal in there, and I'm going to throw multiple stacks in there. I pretty much don't all throw it in at the top. It needs to have at least one in each of these spots. And we're going to throw the reservoir down. Now, I am going to have to go off camera and allow the pressure to build up eventually because it does take a little bit, but I do want to talk about a couple things before we do. So, I actually want to take this stone bricks right here, and I kind of want to, I don't know, I want it to block this off because it's not safe to walk back there, but I hope that we're smart enough to not go back there. So I'm just going to go like this. That should be good enough. You don't want to block right here, but I think it's okay to have them around it like this. So that little area is where nothing should go. Nothing. And we're going to light it up so nothing spawns back there. I don't think it was dark enough anyway, but we're going to throw down the reservoir. These are always sketchy to work with, or the gas turbine at least. Throw it down and it's going to power up, so cover your ears. There we go. It is kicking in, and you'll see that these gearboxes will slowly initiate as this thing charges up, and eventually it'll quiet down a little bit. Okay, so that's its quieter mode. So you can see that it is getting, it's still going up in power, but essentially the idea is that this thing is very, very slow. It's extremely slow, and it's got a ton of torque. So once it gets up to its full power, we'll actually look at this. But what I want to look at now is going to be diamonds. So if we go to diamonds, now one thing I didn't mention is that 16 coal gets 1 diamond. So that's actually not that bad of a ratio. You know, 1 vein of coal can get 1 diamond or more, which is awesome because coal is very prevalent and we use diamonds a lot. But one thing to keep in mind is that you're going to be getting 2 diamonds per 4 Lon's Delight. Now, I apologize if I butcher the names on any of these. They're slightly odd names, but so that's pretty much a 2-to-1 conversion rate for these. And you can see the required pressure and required temperature are the same throughout all these. And then if we go to Lon's Delight, we go over, you can see again the compactor, same pressure, same temperature, and we get that from Prismane, and that's going to be another 2-to-1. Then if we go to Prismane, you can see that you get that from Anthracite, which is again same stuff for pressure and temperature, again 2-to-1. And then Anthracite, you're going to be getting that 2-to-1 with coal, again same pressure, same temperature. So you pretty much get it to that pressure, that temperature, process all of it, then flip the engine off and you're good. Now we have reached the maximum power, and right now we're rocking 67 megawatts, 67.1, which is what this will always transmit, and then we've got 8.4 mega newton meters of torque. That is a ton of torque. That is why a diamond gearbox would break over here. And then we have 8 radians per second, so it's very, very slow. But pressure is going to go up with very high torque, so I guess it actually increases at a pretty good rate. I probably will still hop off camera to let this go up, just because you can see it slows down a little bit. The higher the pressure, the harder it is to make it go up. Unfortunately, the micro turbine was only able to get this up to like 53.5 when it needs to be 55, so that was a little unfortunate because the micro turbine is a lot more efficient when it comes to burning jet fuel. You can see that this is going to get 8 minutes for that entire reservoir, and we have more over there, but that's still a lot. That burns through a ton. But this is the setup. The coal is in there. It takes, I believe, 20 seconds to actually process. And again, if we look at the recipes, you can see you can make some stuff with magnets that are a lot easier. In terms of pressure and temperature, you can make packed ice. You can make, and I'm pretty sure that would need like a refrigeration unit to get it that cold. You can use the lodestones in here, and here's another one that I like, which is the glowstone from Blaze Powder, because this farm down here is killing it. So if we go down here, I want to show you guys the items. I've been on here for a good amount of time, nothing insane, but we're over a stack right now. We've got 621 experience. That's pretty good. We can actually, you know what, we can go enchant a book right now if we want. Let's go do that. That's how we'll kill time. We'll allow this jet engine to continue running and getting pressure for this thing. There's the animation if you wanted to see it, but we can go do some enchanting, because any experience I get now is just kind of, you know, useless. We want to enchant right when we get level 30, so we have this book. Last time we got power 4. I believe that's what that is. I'm really bad with Roman numerals. But we're going to come upstairs, and we're going to do some enchanting. So, what, I'm dead inside. I'm dead inside. I hate my life. That is so, 30 levels for that? 30 levels for that. for that. That was horrific. That was horrible. Okay, well, hopefully there's no other, issues this episode, because that right there made that hurt. That felt bad. But I'm actually going to hop off camera just while this finishes up, because it does, like I said, slow down. When it gets to 55, we will jump back. This will start processing. We can run through the process. I'm not going to process all, 2 1/3 stacks of this that I have. I'm going to process 1 or 2 sets of it, just enough that we can get to a diamond, and then maybe we'll do some glowstone, and then we'll call it. So I will be back when this is at its required pressure. Okay guys, so we are back, and pay no attention to the blue death waypoint that is right above the jet engine, because that was horrific. I was trying to move this reservoir, and then I realized that items can fly into this thing, and then I realized that the reservoir could fly into that, and then I stepped on it, and then I got killed. But this is a learning moment for all of us. A, you die if you step on top of it, and B, if you want to repair it, all you have to do is make a turbine, which is, kind of expensive with steel, and then you just click on it with the turbine and it repairs it, which is kind of important. You don't want it blown up in your base. But yeah, you know how I said right after we enchanted that unless something else, it would be okay unless something else went really wrong? That happened. It's a good thing we enchanted the book then. XP is gone. But this process is actually is going forward now, which is great. So I'm actually going to grab all of this coal out because, nope, I'm wrong. We need actually double that. But you can see it has reached the pressure we need, and it's very slowly going up. It should plateau in a little bit and stop. Keep an eye on it. It should stop, but if it doesn't, you're going to want to stop it from running, because you don't want it to get to 60 or was that 600,000 kilopascals. You don't want it to get to that, trust me. So just something to keep in mind. Like I said, it's 16 to 1, so after 2 more of these processes, we can actually grab this out and start letting it go down to the diamond, I believe, right? It should be. You might need double that to actually run the entire process. But instead of just sitting here, we'll process it down a little bit. If we don't make it to diamonds, it'll be unfortunate. Yeah, we're not going to, but we will get through a couple of these. So you can see it's pretty slow with this. It's not, the fastest thing ever. One thing that we can do is go down while this is running and grab some blaze rods, which I should have done before. We can grind them up, and we can throw them in there and test out actually making the glowstone, because I think that's really awesome. Honestly, I'll probably use that as much, if not more, than I use the diamond making version of it. So throw those in the grinder. Each one that we grind up is going to get us 1.5 pieces of glowstone, which is awesome, because especially if you play on a server, glowstone becomes a very hot commodity, because you got to go in the nether, you got to take long trips. Everyone loves glowstone. If we can look over here, yep, it is finishing up. Then maybe we will be able to get a set of diamonds. I don't know. I think we'll still be a little short. I think we only got half of what we need, but yeah, because 4 of these will become 1 of the next one. So 8 of those will only become... Okay, so I'll let this finish, and then we'll call it for that. You guys see how it works. You see the temperature sitting at 825. You see this is starting to slow down a little bit. It's going up by less than 100 each time. Eventually, it'll keep fluctuating a little bit because pressure... but the main thing is that you have to build that pressure up every time you want to run it. So I think it'd be a good idea that you build up a lot of coal, and then you flick on the gas turbine and let it run, because building up the pressure is kind of like the hardest part. Not the hardest part, but like the longest part. So now we're going to throw in this blaze powder and let this run and get us some glowstone, because I want to make sure that this actually is going to get us glowstone. Should be able to run at this same stuff. It requires significantly less, but just because we're way higher than this, it doesn't cause an issue. Boom, glowstone. That is awesome. And now if we let this run, that's going to give us... that should give us... we actually might have enough to make a diamond, right? Because if we have Prismane, let's take a look at this. So Prismane's uses would get us 2 Lon's Delight, and we have 2 sets of this, which would get us 4. and then the uses of this would get us 2 diamonds. Is it 16 to 2? It might be 16 to 2. I'm forgetting. Yeah, you know what? 16 to 1, 16 to 2. I'm losing my mind at this point. But we're gonna let this finish, and then we're gonna process it for a diamond, because why not? Also, yesterday, I didn't actually say this in the video, but the reason that I put it in the comments if you didn't see it though, the reason that the video was up yesterday and not the day before, that video was recorded for being the day before. I wasn't planning on missing a day, but I was uploading to YouTube, and I usually use a certain rendering style in Sony Vegas that is not a progressive, it's an upper field first, and it makes the video look a lot more crisp, look a lot more like in-game. And the other one looks fine, but this one looks significantly better, and for some reason, that render setting was making it upload at 15 FPS. It would upload at the quality I wanted, but it was 15 FPS, and I had no idea why. The video on my computer was 30, but if I rendered out a video without that setting, it would stay at 30. If I rendered it with that, it would go to 15. So I ended up figuring out what the error was eventually, and fixing it by changing it from rendering one type of file, like a main MP4 or something, into you know, a Sony Vegas MP4 or something like that, and it fixed it. So now the videos should look the same pretty much, but if there are any issues, that's probably why. But I just wanted to let you guys know why I did miss that upload the other day, and I wanted to apologize for that, because I like to go every day unless I have like an issue with something, and of course that was the issue. But we're about to finish getting our diamonds from this. A lot of work for a few diamonds, but pretty cool setup nonetheless. It was our first use of bedrock stuff. Probably not the most efficient. You guys will probably tell me significantly better ways to use my initial bedrock dust, but I think it was fun to mess around with. So here we go. Diamonds. Yes, there we go. So we turned, I want to say, okay, so it was 32 coal. Now that I think about it, it was 32 coal into 2 diamonds, so 16 to 1. But that is the compactor. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did find it informative or entertaining in any way, feel free to give it a like, as it does help me out a lot. And I will talk to you guys later.